Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast, where today we're going over UFC 315, Muhammad versus Della Maddalena. First things first, make sure you smash that like button. Give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There's the Stats and Stacks podcast. First and foremost, always a super quick review of the picks last week. Just for the third straight week, we started off hot on the prelims, could not miss. And then the main card fucked us up. Misha Tate, God, it is what it is. Um, Daniel Marcos had a Michelle Pereira and decided he didn't want to show up today. And that just proves the point of if you are undefeated, do not bet them in 2025. It just sucks. It is what it is. And then the over in the Corey and Figgy fight, I mean, you can't help injury. It happened. So, yeah, not a good streak at the end there. Prelims did have us in the positive by the slimmest of margins, but then we got absolutely cooked on the main card. So we're looking to actually go the whole card this go around. Now we did a complete not breakdown. We did all the fight tape. Have all my notes left. All my notes somewhere else. I don't know where I put my notes. So we're just going to go off of memory and capology for a lot of it. But again, I did the research. I had the reads. Just don't have the notes physically in front of me. But you don't need the notes when you know the fighters. That's a UFC pay-per-view. So we've seen these people time and time again. So do I like to know the amount of reach advantage someone has or the specific number and significant strikes? Yeah. Can I give a broad generalization and we can still make a ton of money? Absolutely. And the picks aren't out yet. So make sure you keep an eye over on Twitter and over on TikTok where all of those are posted. But yeah, it should be a shorter pod without all of the with all the notation there. So let's go ahead and jump right into it and get us all on our merry way. Very first fight of the night's an interesting one. We are looking at Brad Katona going up against Bazked Almakan at over under is set at 2.5 for this matchup. Over 2.5 minus 350, under 2.5 plus 240. Almacan is a minus 175 favorite, while the comeback on Katona is plus 145. This fight is in Canada, so there are going to be quite a few French and Canadian, or both, fighters, and that's how it's going to start off here with Brad Katona. Brad Katona is the definition of a generalist. He's an okay striker. He's an okay wrestler. He's an okay jiu-jitsu practitioner. He has good cardio. He has good fight IQ. He does everything well. He just doesn't excel in anything. He's pretty damn durable, in all honesty. And his losses are good. Gene Masamoto is a star in the making. Garrett Armfield, that was a very questionable decision. We were on Garrett that night, so I'll take it. That was a very questionable decision. Hunter Azure is all right. He's kind of struggling over on the regional scene right now. And then Marab Delashvili, I mean, the current champion. So those aren't bad losses. You have four losses. One is to possibly a future champion, one the current champion, one was a questionable decision, and then the other one, everyone has a bad one here and there. Even Kyler Phillips and Bryce Mitchell are people he beat on the Contender Series along the way. And this year, and again, he was not Contender Series on the Ultimate Fighter. And even this go around on the Ultimate Fighter is second because he won it twice. He did beat Cody Gibson, Timur Valiev, and Carlos Vera on the Ultimate Fighter, and those are good names. They're good fighters. He does nothing bad. He's just not extraordinary anywhere, but he will have the crowd behind him. So that's nice to know when it comes to judging here. Not every area is known to give you a big boost with the judges. They bring the same judges everywhere. But Canada, they seem to enjoy their hometown guys quite a bit. So Katona is from Canada. Keep an eye. Let's see. We have his reach. Okay, I was just taking a look and see if there's a significance there. 64.5 is not a big reach at all. It's a little tiny. On the other side, we have Asmat, and Asmat could be one of these classic cases where they look really good in a loss and then they're overhyped or overvalued their next fight. He has a 68-inch reach, so have a 3.5-inch reach advantage here. Brad is 33, so he's kind of leaving his prime. as Bezcott is 27, so he's just entering his prime. And if there's one word to describe him, it's just scrappy, man. This dude, he has solid takedown defense, and if you do get him down to the ground, he is a damn nightmare trying to keep him down there. He will get up, and he will do so with urgency. His striking is good. He has a decent amount of power on him. His level of competition's not the greatest. But he was over at like UAE Warriors. There's good fighters over there. Even on the regional scene, he wasn't fighting cans on the regional scene. He was fighting good regional competition, and his debut was on short notice against Umar Nurmagomedov. I mean, what are you supposed to do there? Everyone's gonna say he's really, really good because he dropped Umar, but that was really all he did that fight. I thought he looked more impressive on the regional scene. Things I don't like about him, he has been subbed before. His jiu-jitsu has gotten better. I watched some of his earlier fights compared to recent. His jiu-jitsu's gotten better, but he's still there to be had. And his volume, he doesn't throw a lot. He throws decently hard, but he doesn't throw a lot. He has really good cardio. He has a few third round finishes, some decisions, so he can go a hard 15 minutes. I actually think this guy is really, really good. It's just there's some question marks. I mean, he even had a lot of these modified rules to where they don't count on his record. So he's an 11-2. When he came into the UFC, they were saying he was like 22-2 or some craziness like that. Because a lot of these were just modified rules that don't count for MMA. So that's a little bit of a red flag. And again, his volume. It's hard to bet on people that don't throw. Just at the end of the day. Do I think he's going to drop Katona? No, probably not. If this thing goes to decision, Katona should outvolume him. I don't think Katona should waste his time wrestling at all. He's going to have difficulty getting him down. And if he does get him down, he's going to have difficulty keeping him down. So I think you just outvolume this guy. That's how you beat him. Umar can out wrestle him, but that's because of Umar. If you're Brad, just outvolume him. And I think he'll try to do so. He's definitely a live dog to start the night. That's the way we're looking. So we're going to pick Brad Katona. We're going to bet Brad Katona. I just hope they don't cut Bezcat after this fight because losing to Brad and losing to Umar, there's no shame in either of those. He's only 27. I think the world of this guy. I think he's going to be good. He just needs a little seasoning. They're giving him a lot of tough matchups to start his career. But again, I'll go ahead. I'll pick Brad Katona and I'll bet Brad Katona for a dog shot at the start of the night. All right, then that takes us to the next fight of the night. It's a fight that was canceled and rebooked. I think possibly even more than once. We have Daniel Willie Cat or Wiley Cat Santos. As a minus 105 dog going up against Jang Young Lee at minus 115. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 105. Under 2.5 minus 125. There's no Canadians in this matchup, so let's just start with Santos. Wiley Cat is a bantamweight, and this fight's going to take place at featherweight. He was initially supposed to come in on short notice and fight Lee. Lee was supposed to fight I know he's supposed to fight Trevor Peak. I don't remember who the original opponent was. And then the third opponent was Santos, and he was going to come in. It was going to be an absolute banger. But Santos had a problem making weight. And when you go in and you look at his record, he doesn't fight often. This dude hasn't fought in nearly 2 years. I mean, just look at his page. Jesus Christ. Canceled bout, canceled bout, canceled bout. So three of them every year. He's scheduled once a year, and he's always canceling. His last win was in 2023. And then even before he made it to the UFC, canceled bout, canceled bout, canceled bout. Like he's always just pulling out a fight. So who knows if this fight even goes down. But when he does fight, he's damn exciting. He's a shoot to box guy. I think at shoot to box in Lima he's at. So they all fight exactly the same. Pressure fighter, good striking, good jujitsu, okay wrestling, hittable as shit. Not hard to hit this guy. He's going to get chin checked one of these times. He's been rocked on multiple occasions because he doesn't believe in striking defense. He thinks it's optional. It's fun to watch. Like, this kid is good. He has a decent amount of power on him, good volume. Really, really fun to watch. But God damn, I feel like he's just due to get KO'd. He just relies on his toughness. And now he's 30 years old. He's not a 27-year-old kid anymore walking around doing that. Please do not let these grown men punch you in the face. Striking defense is not optional. It's necessary. For the love of God, get your hands up. Because I like Wiley Cat. I love betting Wiley Cat. I don't mind him as a dog here. But That being said, when it comes to matchups and matchups make fights, it does scare me going up against Jung Young Lee. Jung Young Lee is someone that I wanted to fade. I don't think he's that great. He trains at Fight Ready, which is predominantly a grappling gym, and he's a striker, so that's interesting. He's 29 years old. He's in his prime. He'll have like a 4-inch reach advantage, and this maybe more. I can't remember what Santos was, but he definitely has a reach advantage. Lee hits decently hard. He's a very good striker. He has been rocked multiple times, and in his last fight, he got knocked out in a minute by Hyder Emil. And that does raise some concerns because Hyder Emil does nothing but march forward and swing for the fences until he puts you out. And that's exactly how Wiley Cat fights nonstop pressure, good cardio, going forward, swinging until you go out. So that's pretty interesting. But Hyder Emil's pretty durable. Wiley Cat's there to get hit. I mean, his wins don't really impress me. What Blake Builder is not what he should be. I've heard that Blake Builder's a little bit of a gym warrior, kind of like Mike Pyle back in the day, where he is a top 10, top five guy in the gym. And then under the bright lights, he just is a little bit of a shell of himself. Like people that know all the stuff, but kind of struggle taking tests. Like that's kind of what Blake Builder is. So a win over him, unanimous decision is all right, I suppose. Yiza, it was a split decision that could have gone either way. I don't think too highly of Yiza. And then the rest of his fights are over in like Road to UFC. So those aren't great wins. In all honesty, he doesn't really have good wins on his record. He's a little bit of a can crusher. So how good is he truly? I don't know. I think Wiley Cat's extremely live. This line has flipped. I think at one point Wiley Cat was the favorite. Then you have all of the weight issues and the fact that he always pulls out, so it was a pick 'em for a while. Now I see Wiley Cat at minus 105. I don't hate the under here. The under most likely hits at minus 125. Whether Wiley Cat finally goes out early as he doesn't block punches, or he breaks. Lee early and marching forward like Hyder Emil. I do like the under, but if money keeps coming in on Lee, I'm going to have to look at the Santos direction and place a bet and pray to God this isn't the time he gets put out. So the pick is going to be Wiley Cap, Daniel Santos. The bet is probably just going to be the under 2.5, unless I get better money at Santos, and then I'll probably take a shot there as well. Next fight of the night, we have a fight absolutely no one should bet on. Am I going to do it? Yeah, because I'm a fucking idiot. But if you're smart with your money, you do not bet this fight. We have Marc Andre Barrio at minus 140 going up against Bruno Silva, somehow still in the UFC, at plus 120. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5, minus 175. Under 1.5 at plus 135. Let's start with the Canadian, as we have been, and Marc Andre Barrio. Marc Andre Barrio, the power bar. He's a good striker. He has sneaky jujitsu. It's okay. He has a good like front choke series, nothing off his back. His wrestling isn't the greatest. He'll try to use it from time to time, but he was known for having good striking, good volume, and good cardio. He would break you with cardio. He would just keep marching forward. You'd eventually get tired. He'd take over the fight and dominate you. That's what he did. It won him a ton of fights. Again, he has a shiny 16 and not shiny, but he has a 16-9 record. It looked a lot better in the past, but he's on a little bit of a losing streak. And the reason he's on a losing streak is because he's 35 and his chin is gone. It's gone, all the way gone. He got it all started back in 22 when he got head kicked to hell by Chidi Njokuani. Wasn't a good look. Chidi went out there and just smoked him in 16 seconds. So that legendary durability, just marching forward, did not look good. His subsequent fight, he fought Jordan Wright, where Jordan Wright rocked him a little bit and then decided to wrestle, and he eventually caught him with the guillotine. That was an interesting decision. Then his next fight, he got fluffied. There's no shame there. He just got absolutely ragdolled until his will was broken in round 3. Next fight, he got dropped by Julian Marquez like more than once. And then Julian Marquez, who's not good and cut by the UFC, by the way, got tired, and then he was able to dominate. So this time, he wasn't able to just march forward, take your best shots, and then dominate you. He had to get dropped a few times and then march forward and eventually get the win. So that's a red flag. That's 2 years ago. He was getting dropped now. He got knocked out and he got dropped. Then he won the Eric Anders fight, and a pretty interesting one, but he got dropped in that fight as well. So that is one, two, three, four out of those five fights he has been dropped. Chris Curtis was a close fight. And then we saw Joe Pyfer knock him out in a minute, and then we saw him got knocked out by Dustin Stolfus, and that's when I said enough is enough. Dustin Stolfus is one of I think that might be his only knockout on his record. Dustin Stolfus is not a striker. Dustin Stolfus does not hit hard. Dustin Stolfus should not be knocking you out. You are 35 years old, and that chin is toast. All those years of letting people punch you, being just durable, and then finding a way at the end is over. Because if you let people punch you, you go out. And he's not just getting like dropped. He's getting out cold, like where it's not good. And Pfeiffer and just Dustin Stolfus, we're both in 2024. So in a 10-month period here, he has been knocked out cold, deaded, and now he's fighting Bruno Silva, who is awful now. He is just as old and just as washed. The only thing Bruno Silva can do is punch hard. Bruno Silva's jiu-jitsu, he's been working on it, but it's not good. His wrestling, he's been working on it, but it's not good. His chin is deteriorating because he's 35 years old as well. His will to fight has completely fallen apart. He himself has gone in an interview saying he did not want to be in the octagon. That's the last thing I want to hear from a fighter going into a fight, coming out of a fight saying, "Hey, I just don't want to be there that day." And he looked every part of it. His last fight against Ismail, he looked absolutely terrible and did not want to be there. His fight before that with Chris Weidman can hardly move. And he went out there and lost a technical decision because of the eye pokes. Yeah, eye poke to hell. Shera Magomedov. Shera is a good striker, but he's one dimensional, and he just didn't do enough. The Brendan Allen is decently good, but he got rocked by Brendan Allen, and that's a concern. That's when it all started in 2023. I'm not going to forget because my birthday is the day after. I remember being with friends watching this in 23 and watching him saying, "Oh, Brendan Allen's chinny. He'll go out there and he has good takedown defense. He'll just chin check him." Nope. He did not. This is where the decline started in 2023. When he was 33 years old, he started to fade, and he's gotten progressively worse. He's on record going out there saying, "I feel bad for not wanting to be there. I promise you I want to be there now. My career is on the line." Fuck yeah, your career's on the line. You lost four straight. Like, yes, your career's been on the line. I don't know how you're getting a fifth fight. You know how you're getting a fifth fight? Marc-Andre Barrio is getting knocked out by Dustin Stolfus. They have to find someone that this Canadian can beat in Canada. So they chose you. They don't like you, Bruno. They're choosing you because you said you quit and you don't want to be there. So they're hoping that Marc Andre can get this win. Should he get the win? Yeah. Is he going to get the win? Trusting that chin. He got knocked out by Dustin Stolfus. I can't trust that. Can I trust Bruno to actually want to be there? No. But at plus money, I'll pray that he's a man of his word. I cannot bet a man that got knocked out by Dustin Stolfus. The pick is going to be Marc Andre. They're trying to set him up. He should win this fight. But that chin is all the way gone. The bet would have to be Bruno at plus money. And I will be watching these interviews. I will be watching those weigh-ins to see and make sure Bruno is actually there. If he gives the slightest indication that he doesn't want to be there, it's a complete stay away. But if he looks motivated, if he admits I didn't want to be there, but I am ready, my career is on the line, have no choice but to unfortunately bet Bruno Silva. Good God. God, I don't want to do that. Next fight of the night is probably another one you should stay away from, but I'm going to run headfirst into it. We have Navajo Sterling. Can't stand that dude. At minus 300, going against Ivan Urslan at plus 240. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 minus 200. Under 1.5 at plus 150. There is no Canadian in this matchup, so let's just start with Navajo here. He has a city kickboxer. He's a main training partner with Izzy, with Volk, with Dan Hooker. He's 6-0. Red flag number one. You don't bet undefeated fighters this year, so be weary. He is a CKB striker. That's it. He can't grapple. He can't really wrestle. We saw Tuco Tokos take him down 3 times. That's concerning because Tuco is a good grappler, terrible wrestler. So the fact that he took him down 3 times is very concerning. He has decent power on the feet. He's very technical. He's very patient. He kind of reminds me of Izzy when he's on the feet. to where he's throwing and he's throwing like three or four significant strikes per minute, but he kind of stops and pauses and he's very hard to hit, very long, lanky. He's very lengthy and knows how to fight long. It's very seldom you see someone be able to use their length. He does do a very good job of fighting long and he hits decently hard and he can reach you and you can't reach him. But he's one dimensional. He's just a striker. But the beauty for him is that he's at 205. 205, there's no wrestlers. They're all strikers. The guy he's fighting predominantly a striker. Ivan Urslan, I actually liked his regional scene tape a lot as well. He's 14-4. He's not undefeated, but he has good striking. He hits decently hard. Sterling's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage, so Ivan's going to have to find some way to get on the inside to connect and land his shots. He's fought a decent level of competition. I've seen him taken down, and I've seen him pop right back up when he gets taken down, but he generally has good takedown defense. It's kind of difficult to get down. I know Ian Cutelaba was able to get him down like two or three times, but he shot like 15 takedowns, so the percentage is actually pretty decent here. He's just a wrestle boxer. That's really what he is. He says he has some jujitsu in his back pocket. He tried to use a little against Kutalaba, but it wasn't great. Is he better than Sterling? Probably. Do I think he's going to go out there and wrestle and try to grapple Sterling? Not really. That's not really his game. He wants to knock you out. I mean, all of his wins and losses are early. So they could definitely knock each other out. Even he has been knocked out multiple times. Eon rocked him a few times early on. Um, but most of his wins on one finishes. The dude hits really, really, really hard. So the safe bet is probably the under, in all honesty. I don't think this thing goes long, but there's a reason it's bet to 1.5. So I'll go ahead and I'll pick Sterling. Will I have a bet on Ivan? Yes, only because Sterling's undefeated and undefeated fighters can't win. But the best bet's probably to take that alt line and take the under 2.5. I don't see this thing going 3 rounds. Or if you want to just do fight doesn't go the distance, I don't think those lines will be horrible. I think it's parlayable. So the pick is going to be Sterling. The bet's going to be the under 2.5 or fight to go the distance. And if you want to take a stab at Ivan Urslan, he's plus 240. It doesn't hurt to throw a little sprinkle on there. Maybe even him by KO if the odds are right. Next fight of the night. Speaking of Ion Cutelaba, we have him as a minus 115 favorite going up against Modestas Bukakis at minus 105. Over under set at 1.5 as well. Over 1.5 minus 150, under 1.5 at plus 120. Let's start with Cutelaba since we are talking about him. He is a decent wrestler. His jiu-jitsu is not great. He just got promoted to purple belt, so he knows what's going on down there, but he's not scary down there. He has decent striking and decent wrestling. His cardio's not great. He's got 2 rounds of cardio, and that third round, he's just trying to survive. He hits decently hard, and his wrestling's pretty decent, especially at 205. These guys can't wrestle, so I do like him quite a bit. It's just he's a little chinny as well. He's been knocked out multiple times, but the level of competition he's fighting, I mean, he he lost to Kennedy Nchukwu, he was a top 15 guy. He lost to Philippe Lenz. That's not a good look at all. Johnny Walker is a top 15 guy. Ryan Span's a top 15 guy. Magomed Ankalaev is the champion. Jared Cannonier is a top 15 guy or top 10 guy at middleweight. Misha Serkinov wasn't bad at that point. We're going way back here, though. I mean, the Misha Serkinov loss was in 2016, or 9 years ago. So yeah, in the last 10 years, Glover Teixeira. In the last 10 years, he lost to 2 champions and two top 15, three top 15 guys and 2 champions and Philippe Lenz. I don't know what the Philippe Lenz one was. But yeah, he's all in all a decent fighter, mainly because it's 205 and these guys can't wrestle. Can Modestas Bukakis wrestle? No. He has a 70% takedown defense, and that really concerns me because he has not fought a wrestler. So who the hell is taking him down? He fought Rafael Sakira, Marcin Prokhnio, Vitor Petrino, Tyson Pedro, Zach Poaga, Chuck Campbell, Khalil Roundtree, Michael Olianjachuk. Where are the wrestlers? Why does he have 70% takedown defense? So that's not a good look. In addition, his wins in the UFC are the bottom of the barrel. Andreas Michailidis is god awful, like terrible. He beat Tyson Pedro, who gassed out and retired after the fight. Well, he fought Vitor and then retired. Zach Pawaga cut from the UFC. So actually, let's take a look at the people that are still in the UFC. Rafael Sequeira, I don't think he's cut, but he's 0-2. He's on the prefaces of getting cut. Marcin Prachnio, cut. Zach Pawaga, cut. Tyson Pedro, retired. These are on the regional scene. And then he beat Andreas Michailidis, cut. He's not beating good competition. Now, Jimmy Crute back in the day was good. Michael Onyenchuk is all right. Cleo Roundtree is good. Vitor Petrino is a work in progress. So he's losing to good guys, but he can't beat anyone with a winning record in the UFC. So he's fighting Ian Cutelaba, who is like dead even in the UFC. So all in all, Modestus is a very good counter striker. He has a BJJ black belt, but he doesn't really use it because he doesn't wrestle. The problem I have with him is his takedown defense and that he's chinny. People aren't talking about how chinny he is. He gets rocked all the time. Zach Pawaga rocked him. Vitor Petrino just straight knocked him out. Khalil Roundtree was a knockout. That was that nasty knee injury. Jimmy Crute in 2 minutes knockout. Like he's been knocked out quite a bit. Even on the regional scene, his fights were knockouts, losses then too. So most of his losses are by KO. So no one talks about he's a great counter striker, but if you actually catch him, he's a little chinny. So Ion could win by wrestling. Ion could win by catching him. Modestus can win by catching him, but that's about it because he's very low volume. So I'll take the better wrestler with better volume, with better power, and they both have suspections, but it's minus 115. You're getting good odds. The pick is going to be Ion Cutelaba. The bet is going to be Ion Cutelaba. Next fight of the night. We have Jasmine Jasudavicius as a minus 310 favorite going up against Jessica Andrade at plus 245. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 145. Under 2.5 plus 115. It's tough to say, but I think Jazz might be the best Canadian fighter currently. So let's start with Team Canada here. Jasmine is a good wrestler. Her striking is much improved. It used to be very, very bad. Now it's proficient. It's still a little stiff and robotic. She's 36 years old, but she started a career at like 30. So she's still improving even at an old age. Her jujitsu has gotten much better. She's a good jujitsu practitioner. She usually drains your energy. And she used to be a gas bag. So her striking used to be bad. Her wrestling was so-so, and her cardio was awful. She's improved. I'll give the devil her due. Her cardio is much improved. Her striking is much improved. Her wrestling's kind of remained stagnant, and her jujitsu's improved. So she's gotten much better. But she's a little bit of a size bully. I still don't think she's that talented, and because she's not that good of a wrestler. But like heavyweight, like light heavyweight, and in women's MMA, if you can wrestle, you have an advantage. Jillian Robertson, you look at Verna Jandaroba. If you can take girls down, it's like a cheat code. Girls don't wrestle. That's just what it comes down to. Tatiana Suarez just fought for a title. The champion, Wei Li at 115, learned to wrestle, and all of a sudden she's dominant. She's dominating Amanda Lemos. She's dominating Tatiana because her wrestling got better. Like, if you can wrestle in women's MMA, it's a straight cheat code. That's what Jasmine does. She's a size bully that can wrestle a little bit. And that's sometimes all you need, especially in women's MMA, is physicality. Is she that good? No, she's technically not that good at all. But she has the right fight style, and she is bigger than everyone else. Jessica Andrade, Angela had the crowd behind her. Jessica Andrade is a very good fighter. Jessica Andrade is probably the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. She's good offensively, defensively. She's a little bit of a liability, but she's probably better at BJJ. She's definitely better at striking. She probably has the better cardio. She definitely hits harder. She hits like an absolute truck. She is a former champion of 115. This is at 125, and that's my concern. Jessica Andrade is a mantra where she wants to be a female BMF. She's been asking for that belt to be created because she believes she is the female BMF. She'll fight you at any weight class. She has wins at 135 in UFC, 125, and 115. She will fight you anywhere. She is an absolute dog. She's a tank of a woman. But this gives me Kevin Holland vibes. Kevin Holland at 170 is dominant and has only lost to Jack Della Maddalena in a split decision. Kevin Holland at middleweight is getting choked out in 2 minutes. So it makes a difference when you're at your right weight class. This is not Jessica's weight class. And the scariest part is that she's a 115 pounder. She's a small 125er, and she's fighting the largest 125-pound fighter in the weight class. That's not good. Her takedown defense is sitting at like 60%. That's not good going against Jasmine. Jasmine has a few losses in the UFC. She has a loss to Tracy Cortez, and she has a loss to Natalia Silva. What do both of them have in common? 90% takedown defense. They sprawled and brawled the hell out of Jasmine, and Jasmine was forced to strike, and they beat the hell of her on the feet, and she couldn't get them down. Jessica Andrade with sub 70% takedown defense, not a good look. She's probably going to get the little girl down. And when she does, Jessica will kind of quit on the ground from time to time. I think Jasmine sub is live. Jasmine has vicious ground and pound. Jasmine KO is live. And honestly, Jessica can catch anyone at any weight class on the feet. She hits that damn hard. So I'm actually leaning the under. I think Jazz finishes. I think if Jessica wins, it has to be a finish. So I'm all over this under 2.5 at plus money. I bet it at plus 145. It's now plus 115. The line's moving. So if you want it, hop on now while the plus money's there. So the pick is going to be Jasmine Jazz Davicius. The bet is going to be the under 2.5 and bet it while it's plus money before it's gone. Next fight of the night, we have a Canadian. We have proper Mike Malott as a minus 195 favorite going up against what seems like the popular dog of the week in Charles Radke at plus 165. Over under set at, let's see what it's set at. Pulling it up here. It's a little delayed. What is the over under? Okay. My phone froze. It's not pulling it. So, oh, there it is. 1.5. Over 1.5, minus 185. Under 1.5 at plus 140. Like we've been doing, let's just start with the Canadian and Mike Malott. Mike Malott is a dynamo. He has good striking. He has world class jiu-jitsu. He has good wrestling. He has good power. He has everything offensively. Defensively, he is a little chinny. His chin is definitely a liability, and his cardio is ass. He lost to Neil Magny because he gassed out. He lost to Hakeem Dawodu because he gassed out, and that's at 145. He was tired in the first round, guys. Like, it's pretty bad. And then he got knocked out because he's a bad chin. So, yeah, this dude can do it all offensively, but defensively, it's just trouble. His chin has just got awful, and his cardio is even worse. So know you're playing with fire. It's the Mike Malott fight, so usually the under is minus money. This one, they just set it 1.5 and gave you plus money, which is interesting because Charles Radke is also a little bit of an offensive dynamo. He has a left hook from hell. Like, people talk about Alex Pereira's left hook. Don't sleep on Charles Chuck Buffalo Radke's left hook. It's the only thing he throws, and for some strange reason, he keeps getting away with it. I don't understand. He knocked out Gilbert Urbino with it. He knocked out Matthew Semmelsberger. He throws one punch. He throws one punch. It is a left hook. He doesn't throw a lot of volume. He's not the world's greatest striker. He is a good jiu-jitsu practitioner, but you don't know because he doesn't wrestle. He just wants to stand and bang, and he wants to hit you with that left hook. But even in his losses, a lot of them are KO. He got knocked out in round 2 against Justin Montavio. He got knocked out by Carlos Prates. I mean, no shame. Watched that live, actually. He has losses to Austin Hubbard. That's not a great look. Chris Gonzalez isn't a great look. Like, these guys aren't terrible, but his wins, again, Gilbert Urbina is good, but he's like the chinniest fighter in the weight class. Mike Mathatha, or better known as Blood Diamond, like, come on. These aren't good. And Matthew Semmelsberger. All these guys have been cut outside of Gilbert. I think he's still in the UFC, to be determined. But yeah, he has a good left. He has good jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't have good wrestling to show it. So he also doesn't have the greatest cardio. He does slow down in fights. So they're basically the same thing, only Mike is better everywhere with, I think, just a little worse cardio. But we're in Canada, and Mike was able to fight a boring fight last time in Canada against Trevin Giles. He wanted to prove he got his first win ever going the distance. He has never gone the distance outside of his last fight with Trevin Giles. I don't think he's doing it again. I think he's going to go out there and try to put on a show this time. He was talking about how disappointed he was, and I think he's going to go out there and bang. I don't know who's going to fall. I like the under. I hate that they lined it at 1.5. Um, I'm I'm just gonna probably take the alt line at 2.5. I don't see this thing going the distance. Honestly, I hardly see it going to the second round. The 1.5 has my eye, but I'm gonna play it safe. I'll probably parlay some 2.5. So the pick is gonna be proper Mike Malott. He is the better fighter. But again, his cardio is a little worse and his chin's a little worse. So I'm just gonna take the under 2.5, that alt line, and call it a day. Next fight of the night, we're getting into our main card. And it sounds weird because in 2025, we have a main card with Kyle Prepelic. Kyle Prepelic, Killshot Prepelic at plus 700, BSD Benoit Saint Denis at minus 1300. The over under is set at nowhere because this is a late fight. So let's just start with the Canadian here and Kyle. Kyle is a former UFC vet, and he's another one where I just think they cut him too soon. He came in on short notice and fought Nordine Talib up a weight class. He got killed. Then he fought Austin Hubbard in a pretty close fight. I think Austin Hubbard is the very bottom level of UFC, but he's UFC caliber. So to cut him after just losing one fight at his natural weight class was kind of odd. His name is Killshot for a reason. The dude hits hard. He's a good striker. He claims his jiu-jitsu is good. I don't think it's that great. His wrestling sucks. His wrestling is terrible. He has 40% takedown defense in the UFC in his two fights, and honestly, it doesn't look much better on the regional scene. He can't wrestle. But he has okay jiu-jitsu. He has an okay get-up game. He doesn't have an urgent get-up game, but he will get up eventually. He doesn't just play guard. He'll throw one sub, and then he'll try to get up. That's what he does. And once he does get on the feet, he is a good striker. He does hit really hard. He has a really sneaky head kick that he throws over and over that's fast. But his punches are slow as shit. They're really slow as molasses. And he's a little hittable because of it. He's just physically slow. He's a former hockey player. He picked up kickboxing. And again, he keeps his hands very, very low. He's asking to get chin checked. But all in all, he is a kill or be killed fighter. He's just going to come in with his hands low, swinging heavies, throwing his head kicks, and trying to put you out. And it works a lot. I mean, he has a ton of round one finishes, so the nickname Killshot works. He has a win over Michael Dolfort, who's a PFL guy, who's decent. So he's not just been sitting around fighting nobodies on the regional scene. He's been fighting someone. But again, he's taking this fight on a week's notice. It's going to be at his weight class, but it is on 1 week notice, and he is 35 years old. So just be aware of that. On the other side, we have Benoit Saint Denis, who is someone that I perpetually try to fade because I don't think he's that good. Benoit Saint Denis is 20. Is he 29? Benoit Saint Denis is 29 years old. Let's see if he has a reach. He has a 3-inch reach advantage. Jesus. He has okay wrestling. He has decent jujitsu. He has okay striking. I think he's very overrated. I said that Kyle was hittable. Benoit Saint Denis is even more hittable. He loves to get punched in the face, and everyone talks about how durable he is. Dude, he got rocked by Gabriel Miranda. I talked about Dustin Stolfus knocking you out. I can't bet you. The moment he went out there in front of his French crowd and got rocked by Gabriel Miranda, I said his chin's ass. I'm staying away from it. We saw him get basically killed by Zaleski. They should have stopped the fight. Nicholas Stolze, he did his job. Gabriel Miranda, I had a lot of money on him, and I cannot get that image of him getting rocked out of my head. He's a punching bag. He marches forward and kills you with pressure, but he is there to get hit. He's another one that does not think you have to have striking defense. He thinks it's optional. Ismail Bonfim, everyone talks about, oh, that was a great win. Bonfim is the most fragile fighter in the UFC, not like durability-wise, but the fact that he got hurt, his orbital socket went out in his last fight. This fight against Benoit, he blocked a body shot or no, he blocked a head kick and his arm broke. So he was fighting literally one handed against BSD. And that was the best win at the time. And it's like he had one arm. Like I know BSD did it, but it's more of Gabriel. We keep seeing, or isn't sorry, Ismail Bonfim. He keeps getting hurt inside the octagon. It's just weird. Thiago Moises, he just basically bullied. He's a size bully. He goes out there, he cuts a ton of weight, he tries to dominate you. Matt Frivola showed another bad part of his game in takedowns. Thiago Moises took him down twice. Matt Frivola, the fight lasted a minute and a half, and he took him down like 3 times. He has 60% takedown defense. He's very hittable. He's been rocked in half of his fights. And then his next fight, he got knocked out cold in the second round by Dustin Poirier. Yes, it's Dustin, and Dustin's a beast. And yes, he had staph. He's going to blame everything on the knockout by getting staph. But he didn't have staph when he got rocked by Gabriel Miranda. He didn't have staph when he went out there and got KO'd by Renato Moicano. Was it a doctor stoppage? Yes. Should they have probably stopped the fight because he got the absolute piss kicked out of him round one? Yeah, probably. And why did he get the piss kicked out of him? Because he got taken down. And when he got taken down, you beat the hell out of him. He's not good off his back. He does not have good takedown defense. And when he's on the feet, he hits hard and he pressures forward, but he's there to get got. Gabriel Miranda rocked him. Do I think he wins this fight? Yes, absolutely. Kyle Prepolek is one-dimensional. He can only strike, and he can't wrestle to save his life. So this is someone Benoit Saint Denis can take down and dominate. He should take him down and dominate. Do I trust him at minus 1,300? Absolutely not. I will never trust BSD at an asinine line like that. They're going to force me to bet Kyle Prepolek. I don't want to do it. Don't make me do it. I might just take the under, but God, I don't want to do it. I don't know what the over under is yet. So as of right now, the bet is BSD. Don't touch it at minus 1,300. You have to do dog or pass at plus 700, and it feels gross. You're basically donating. All right, next fight of the night. We have Alexa Grasso, former champion, as a plus 90 dog, going up against Natalia Silva at minus 235. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 500, under 2.5 plus 300. Let's start with no Canadian, so let's start with the former champ and Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso has good striking. She's been training at Lobos with Diego Lopez, and now all of a sudden has really good jiu-jitsu. Her wrestling, though, is her kryptonite still. She has like 50% takedown defense, and it's awful. If you want to beat Alexa Grasso, you take her down with ease, and she plays guard. She doesn't get up. She believes in her jiu-jitsu now, which it is very much improved. But get up, Alexa. Don't just stay down there. You take her down one time, and that's all it takes. That's the round. We saw Valentina exploit that on more than one occasion, and Valentina's a striker. We saw Carla Esparza exploit that. Tatiana Suarez exploited that. Felice Herrig exploited that. Every single fight that she has lost in the UFC in her career is because she fought someone that perpetually took her down. Every single time it's because someone continually took her down. She is a good striker. She has good cardio. She's a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. She is top tier. She is a former champion that can't wrestle. What does Natalia Silva do? Strike. So it's interesting that she is such a big favorite here, but she is the new hotness, like figuratively and physically. Natalia Silva, the UFC loves. She came out of absolutely nowhere. She trains with Paulo Costa, which sucks, but she has world class taekwondo. She is fast as shit. She is the fastest striker at 125 I've ever seen in my life. She is quick. She's very, very hard to hit. She's very, very elusive. She has 91% takedown defense. So you're forced to strike with her. And when she's striking, she is throwing stuff with power. She is throwing stuff fast. She is 18-5. And you're saying, where did all those losses come from? The start of her career. She lost to Marina Rodriguez, who had just retired and is a UFC fighter, back in 2017. Her other losses were in 2015 and 2016. So we're talking 10 years ago. And you look at her right now, she's 28. So she was 18, 19 years old when she was losing. And then she went on this elongated win streak. I mean, she hasn't lost since 2018. 2017 is her last loss. So she hasn't lost in 8 years. She's good, man. She's a very good striker. She's very fast. She has a ton of volume. She has good cardio. Her jujitsu's okay. I'll say Alexa has the better jujitsu, but Alexa can't wrestle. Natalia Silva also has 91% takedown defense. Alexa can't get it down there. Most fighters beat Alexa. Every fighter beats Alexa by taking her down. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. I am going to pick Natalia Silva. I think the speed and power advantage and the volume advantage is just too much. Do I think Alexa can think of a game plan? Yeah, she's a former champ and she's damn good. Um, but the reason I'm going to lean Natalia is because she's a small 125er and she knows she has to be fast. She knows you can't catch her because she's so tiny. Alexa Grasso is a former 115-pound fighter. She's not a big 25-pounder. So for the first time, we're going to see Natalia fight someone her size. And that's just going to make her even more dominant. So the pick is going to be Natalia Silva. I really want to bet the former champ at plus money, but I think I'm going to stay away, and I might end up betting Natalia Silva and believe the hype. All right, next fight of the night. We have a good one here. We have Jose Aldo going up against Ayman Zahabi. Ayman Zahabi is the Canadian this matchup. He's a plus 180 dog. Jose Aldo at minus 220. Let's start with the Canadian. Ayman Zahabi sucks. He's 12-2. But he has such a padded record. He's the little brother of Faraz Zahabi, the famous GSP trainer. Ayman is 37 years old. He is not young. He has decent striking. Out of nowhere, seemingly found power. But he's not a good wrestler. His jujitsu is apparently good, but you don't see it because he doesn't wrestle. He counter strikes. He pressures and counter strikes. It's very weird. He lulls you to sleep, and he does not go first. All he does is counter. He's in very boring fights. He's very, very low volume, but he keeps running into these people that are so antsy that he takes advantage. Ricky Tercios, or sorry, Drake. Let's start with Draco Rodriguez. Draco Rodriguez is all action. He went out there, got countered, and got put out in the first round. Ricky Tercios is all action. That's the one where he kept throwing all the crazy strikes through the air. He threw like 300 strikes, but only like 100 of them were like actually hit him. It was weird. And ultimately, Zahabi landed more. Richie Lang marches straight forward with no head movement at all, and Zahabi took his head off. Javid Basharat's another one that's an all-action fighter, and as he kept pressuring forward, he just kept getting countered and he lost. Pedro Munoz is an all-action fighter. He kept going forward and he lost. Like, that's what happens. He lulls you to sleep and counters you for 15 straight minutes. He's not easy to take down. But he's not going to offensively wrestle. He just wants to counter strike the entire time, and it's kind of boring to watch. Vince Morales did not do that. Ricardo Ramos did not do that. He actually took him down 3 times. Vince Morales mixed in wrestling and was able to win that fight. If you just wrestle this guy, he has decent takedown defense, but if you get him down to the ground, he kind of plays guard as well, and he can't do his counter striking off his back. It doesn't work. So if you give him a decent wrestler, Draco, striker, Ricky, striker, Arichi Lang, striker, Javid, striker, Pedro, striker. They are not giving him a wrestler on purpose. Jose Aldo, striker. He's not a wrestler, so they know what they're doing. He's in Canada. He wants to get a big name on his resume, but I don't know if Jose Aldo's the one. Jose Aldo's predominantly a boxer now. He used to be known for his leg kicks, but now he just strictly boxes. He's even older. He's 38 years old, but he looks like he still has it. Some of these guys, like Yoel Romero, their age says one thing, their body's telling you a different story. Aldo is a former champion at 145. He made the move down to 135, and he's looks phenomenal. He's a really good striker. He's a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner, but he doesn't wrestle. So both these guys are low volume. Both these guys hit decently hard. So this could be a 50-50 fight, but just skill for skill. Aldo hits. He's just so much cleaner. He's just so much better. If he goes back to his leg kicking days, he will dominate Zahabi. I don't know what he's going to do. I truly don't know what he's going to do. He's 38. He retired. He came back. I don't know what we're getting from him. He scares me. He should dominate this fight. And 3 years ago, this isn't even close. This is Jose Aldo minus 1,300. But 38-year-old Aldo that wants to just box, He's gonna make it so much harder on himself. I still think he gets the job done. I'll pick Jose Aldo. Do I want to bet him? This seems like a stay away. This seems like this could potentially just be bet the over. Because both these guys are just counter strikers and they'll stare at each other for a little bit. But the over's minus 375. So I don't really want to bet this fight at all. The pick is going to be Jose Aldo. The bet's going to have to be Jose Aldo because they're better odds. But honestly, no, take it back. The bet's going to be the over. They're just going to stare at each other and probably the most boring fight of the night. The next fight shouldn't be too boring. We have our first of two championship fights. We have Manan Ferro at minus 140. The, yeah, you heard that right. Valentina Shevchenko plus 120, the champion underdog. Over 4.5 minus 325, under 4.5 at plus 225. Let's start with the French girl, because again, French Canadian. I mean, Canada speaks French, so they'll probably be behind Manon. So let's take her in her first title fight. She is a world class striker. She's not young. She is 35 years old, so it's now or never. She hits decently hard. She has a sneaky good wrestling game. She will mix in takedowns here and there. Her jiu-jitsu is not great. Her volume's okay. Her cardio is not great. She can't slow down. I know the cardio looked all right in her only 5 round fight against Erin Blanchfield, but Erin's just not as physically developed. Erin's like 22 years old, and it just looked like man muscle or woman female. It looked like woman muscles versus little girl muscles. Erin's not fully developed yet, and she just bullied her with physicality. Is what it came down to. And Erin kept going for body locks instead of shooting on the legs. Now, Manon has really good takedown defense. It's over 90% takedown defense. But again, there's not a lot of wrestlers in women's MMA. Erin is one, but she only went for body locks. And that's very, very hard to take down someone so much stronger than you, upper body. Rose was in a very close fight with her with a broken finger. And Rose is smaller. So that's pretty interesting there. The Caitlin Chikagian fight is every Caitlin Chikagian fight. Jennifer Maya actually watched live. She took her down a few times, which is interesting. Or was it Bueno Silva that I watched live? No, I watched Maya live. Bueno Silva, she took her down a few times, so she's confident on the ground. And she hits really, really hard, has a ton of knockouts. But in the UFC, she only has one, and that's against Tabitha Ricci. So I don't know. The higher level she goes, the less she's getting KOs. She's probably at this point the better striker. I think Valentina is starting to slow down in older age. Um, but she's growing wiser in her older age. She has more. Before, she would just go out there and win the way she wanted to win. Now she is all team fight IQ because she just doesn't physically have what she used to have. Manon's old. She's 35, but Valentina's 37. She's even older. She has good striking. She's been using her wrestling a lot, but that's because she was fighting Alexa Grasso a million times. She has okay jujitsu. So right now, I'll say as of 2025, the better striking is Manon Furrow. The better wrestling is Valentina. The better jiu-jitsu is Valentina. The better cardio is Valentina. Um, but is her wrestling good enough to get Manon to the ground? Because if this is just strictly kickboxing, I think Furrow wins. And that's why she's the favorite. But if Valentina can find a way to get this down to the ground and neutralize her, or maybe there's some sort of like shock be fighting in a title fight, you see that all the time. And I don't like champions as dogs. I don't like betting against them. I will always DDP was a dog, he won. Marab was a dog, he won. Just bet the champion. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to pick Manon Furo, but I'm going to ultimately bet Valentina Shevchenko at dog money. Who knows if you'll ever see that again. And that takes us to the main event. If you haven't already, smash that like button. Give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There's the Stats and Stacks podcast. We have no Canadians. We have Jack Della Maddalena finally getting his crack at UFC Gold against Bilal Muhammad. Jack Della's plus 160, Bilal Muhammad at minus 190. Over under set at two. I have 2.5 listed. Under 2.5 plus 240, over 2.5 minus 350. Woo! Let's start with Jack Della. Jack Della is a good striker. He hits very, very hard. He has a ton of knockouts on his record. He has very good cardio. The problem I have with Jack Della, he has okay jujitsu, but his takedown defense is not good. We saw Basil Hafez go out there and dominate in a close fight. Jack Della got the split. I thought Basil won that fight, and that was concerning. Everyone, the world watched that fight. So Gilbert Burns went out there and tried the same approach, and Gilbert was dominating. He was winning. He won the first two rounds, and then Jack didn't quit on himself, ultimately hit him with a knee and then ground and pounded him and finished Gilbert Burns in round three. Kevin Holland doesn't wrestle. He just tried to outstrike him with length, and it didn't work. He ultimately lost a split. That fight was really, really close. So is he a great striker? Yes. Is he untouchable on the feet? No. Does he have great cardio? Yes. Can you just keep him down on the ground? Yeah. He doesn't have a good get up game. If you get him down, you can keep him down. And it's not difficult to get him down. It isn't. He does not have good takedown defense. So he is a striker and striker alone. He can strike with any man at 170. But if you can mix it up, he's in a little bit of trouble because Basil is only a wrestler. Gilbert that night was only a wrestler. And both of them potentially won that fight or were winning before they got caught. Kevin Holland only struck. When he fought Angelusa on Contender Series, only struck. Randy Brown only struck. Danny Roberts only struck. Ramazan Amith only wrestled. He's fighting just one or the other, and he can game plan accordingly. Bilal mixes it up. Bilal, you don't know what he's going to do. He's a good striker. He is a great wrestler. He is a good jiu-jitsu practitioner, and he can match Jack Della. In fact, do better than Jack Della in the cardio department. He is a champion for a reason. He's beat the better level of competition. He does everything well. He's very, very good. The problem I have with Bilal is his chin. He has three career losses, and he got absolutely dominated by Jeff Neal, just knocked a few times. Alan Jubain rocked him, and Vicente Luque put him out in 1 minute. We've also seen fights where he won, where he got cracked. Tim Means cracked him. We saw Lyman Good cracked him pretty good. He gets rocked on continually. So that's concerning because eventually he's going to be put out. Can Jack Della be the one to put him out? Yeah, his chin's not getting better. He's 36 years old. He's all of these champions are getting old. All of them are liable to get KO'd, so you have to be careful. But at the end of the day, when it comes to striking, it's pretty close. I'll give Jack Della the slightest edge. Slightest of edge. 60, 55, 45 Jack Della. When it comes to wrestling, not even close. Not even close. All below. When it comes to grappling, it's closer, but I'd still go below. When it goes to cardio, it's closer. I'll still go below. So Jack has the striking and the durability. Bilal has everything else, and he's right there with everything else. So I have no choice but to go Bilal. They're giving you good odds on Bilal. My gut is screaming Jack pulls off a wild upset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet Bilal. I'm going to put Bilal in every single parlay. And then if those parlays are still alive, I will hedge with Jack Della just because I'm getting a weird gut feeling. But at the end of the day, Bilal should kill him. So the pick is going to be Bilal Muhammad. The bet's going to be Bilal Muhammad. But for the love of God, if your parlays are open with him, hedge because Jack Della can catch him at any point. And that's UFC 315. It's not the greatest pay per view, but as long as we make money, it's a good pay per view to me. So let's make the reads, let's pay attention, and let's get after it.